This is the self-publishing news for October the 10th, 2022. And boy, there's a lot of information I want to share today. So let's go ahead and plow right into it. Now, if you weren't aware just yet, you happen to be publishing on Kindle Vella. They just decided they're going to go ahead and allow all episodes read for free. If you're in Kindle Vella, you have no choice. Your episodes are going to get read for free. That means no tokens are required by the actual readers to read your book. In fact, they can read up to 100 episodes per day. Yeah, you can read an entire series, like 2, 3, 4, or 5 during that time for that amount of stuff. By the way, if you're reading 100 episodes per day, kudos to you, because it's anywhere from 600 words to 5,000 words per episode, which is just mind-blowing that someone could probably sit down. But hey, I understand some people read that. There was quite a bit of the community that was not told about this information. They weren't told that this was going to be done. Now, there was another smaller section of people that were told and said, hey, make sure you push this out to your readers. Oh, fantastic. So you mean to tell me I get to have all of my readers read my stuff for free, pretty much leaving only the bonus available to me. And the bonus, who knows what that is? Which, by the way, I will be recording an episode about Kindle Vella and how I feel like it might be broke. And this is one of the primary reasons, because no one was let known ahead of time, and you didn't have a choice. You didn't have the option to opt out of something like that. And I think it's a real big slap to the face of the people who have actually put in hours and spent countless amounts of dollars to edit, proofread, get it all done and ready and published. So yeah, I'm going to get off my rant box because I'll get to another item here in just a second here. Let's move a little further forward just to kind of let you know, if you're not following already over on Substack, you should definitely do that. I'm over on Substack at dalelinks.com/Substack. And this past week, we published an article called Search Like a Boss, Achievement Unlocked. Are you ready to take your research skills to the next level? Now, I am super fortunate that my content manager, Ava Fales, is one of the best people in the industry. And she really knows just about everything there is to know about self-publishing books and running an online business. And in fact, she actually put together this great comprehensive article and showing you how you can leverage search engines to better equip yourself for research for your titles, and also understanding it from a standpoint of search engine optimization. How do you leverage search engines to make your content a bit more discoverable? Again, take a look over at dalelinks.com/Substack. So that way you get all the information. You can subscribe. It's 100% free. It won't hurt you, I promise. All right, next item up in the news comes from the fine folks over at Fictionary. They got a blog post on how to better use track changes. Oh, this is really great. I really wish if someone would have published this article back when I first got into the business, because man, I was lost when I worked with my first editor, because all of the track changes that were put on Microsoft Word, I was like, how do you get rid of this? What do I do here? How do I leave notes for this person? Guess what? Fictionary's got it all covered for you in their latest blog post on how to better use track changes. And rather than me telling you what it is, why don't I just go ahead and send you, by the way, all links are going to be inside the description down below on Wednesday for the news segment launch. All right, moving a little further forward here, the fine folks over at IngramSpark actually gave me a little bit of a heads up on some information you are going to want to know. In fact, here's exactly what the business operations manager for IngramSpark said. Hope you're doing good. I am doing good. Thank you so much. Want to let you know that we've now moved title level compensation reporting live into production on the new reporting dashboards. It's still select customers only, but take a look at the new compensation section of your account and let me know what you think. So essentially they're going into the account and they're really starting to upgrade and level up what you're seeing inside your IngramSpark dashboard. I've been sitting on this item for a while now. In fact, actually, I think it was earlier this year that I spoke with the IngramSpark team after I'd published the video about my reluctance with their platform. And one of the biggest areas of contention for me was the fact that these reports were just archaic. If you wanted to have any type of information. You had to get it emailed to you. Well, thankfully now it's within the dashboard. If you don't see it yet, it will be coming out eventually. Pardon me, I'm just going to go ahead and fix my color correction here. There we go. And hopefully that did it. Okay, moving further forward inside the news. This one actually comes from the fine folks over at Story Origin. I was going to say at Evan Gao. Evan Gao from Story Origin actually had mentioned this. And this is really kind of cool. He was actually sharing how it's usually the biggest area of contention for some people. It's converting their manuscript to EPUB or Mobi. I know Mobi's still being used by some people, even though KDP is not accepting it. And one of the areas he recommended was using Calibre. I don't care what it's pronounced as. Either way, CALIBRE. It's an open source software for formatting your ebook. Well, here's the really, really, really cool thing is Evan went ahead and built into the dashboard for Story Origin a file conversion software that you can be able to upload your book cover. You can upload your EPUB, Mobi, or docx file, and then you can get it compressed on EPUB or Mobi. This is in instances where you find your file is really, really, really large. I know I ran into that because I had a lot of images in one of my nonfiction books. So this is kind of cool to see this going there. Again, Story Origin, wonderful, wonderful platform. A little bit biased because I do love and use them. All right, moving a little further forward, this actually comes from the folks over at Lulu. This is the Editing Essentials, Edit Like a Developmental Story Editor. This is a webinar being hosted by Lulu with the founder of Fictionary, Christina Stanley. It feels like I'm probably doing nothing but a Fictionary plug today, but I promise you they have not paid me. But she goes in depth and is going to talk about editing a developmental story editor. We all get excited when we type the end on our first draft. Before you share your book with others, you owe it to yourself to tell the best story possible. Learn how to story edit and you'll create an experience readers love. Editing a manuscript is a big undertaking, both intellectually and emotionally. Being thorough can be difficult and time-consuming, but the creative story editing process always pays off. All right, so that actually had aired last Wednesday, so you should be able to still see this. I'll drop a link down inside the description below, and if for some reason we missed out on it, my apologies. But I find things like that super fascinating now that I'm in the world of fiction writing. Hey, the folks over at ebook fairs more recently just rolled out a new feature, and it's actually for ARC readers. So if you're doing advanced reader copies, sending out your copies in advance to folks who are going to read it in exchange for a review upon launch, hey, they've got you covered. And here's the really cool thing. They are actually going to give you a coupon. So if you were to go to dalelinks.com/ebookfairs and use the coupon code AUTHOROCT30, that's author as in October, OCT30, that actually will give you a credit large enough to try ebook fairs out for a month and see how easy it is for you to participate in the book fairs. So if you really want to get involved in book fairs as well as, using the ARC reader option, ebook fairs is definitely going to be something for you to check out. Alrighty. Next item up in the news. Sorry, excuse me here, folks. Got a little bit slowed down. This one, don't even matter. Everybody's getting to see my email address over here, so there's that, I suppose. Oh, well. Okay. Come on now, Dale. Get with the program. There. Okay. Next item up in the news comes from the folks over at Booksprout. Very similar to Story Origin. They actually more recently had shared that introducing support for Authors Direct and Kobo audiobook codes. So if you have anything from Authors Direct via Findaway Voices, or if you've got Kobo audiobook codes, Booksprout now supports those. So if you happen to be a user over at Booksprout, then this is a great time to go ahead and take a look at that for sure. Next item up in the news. This is actually pretty exciting if you happen to be in the low content and no content book publishing space. The fine folks over at BookBolt more recently launched something in their designer studio option. And this is how you can organize all graphics and files to keep them organized by folders, niches, and themes. This was used to be just a huge mess. So when you had projects, you would have various components put everywhere, and then it just became a mess if you're putting out a respectable amount of content. So now there's an organizational process. There's a full link. You can go ahead and take a look inside the description down below for sure. Moving a little further forward, a live event and webinar is actually coming up. Here is Your Story Idea Any Good with S.J. Watson. This is hosted by the folks over at Reedsy. Any rate, are you on the right track? Every idea needs development before it can become something that can sustain a work of fiction. But just as not every seed will germinate, not every idea has what it takes to grow into a full-length novel or even a short story. So they're going to discuss inside this webinar how to spot and retain ideas, how to determine whether an idea will make a good novel or short story, and what to do when you feel your story is drifting. There is that item over at Reedsy. Now, here's a really, really big one. This actually comes out from Amazon advertising themselves, and it is the Q4 campaigns and the tips to actually elevate it. On October the 18th to the 19th, you can register for a free spot to learn more about shoppable ads and such. And they're going to have a number of experts that are coming in, and one of which you've actually heard me talk about and interview a couple of times. His name is Brian Cohen. He's an author influencer, as they called him, and the CEO of Best Page Forward. So it's really cool to see one of our guys on in there and talking about it, because this is something we really needed. Register for this event. It is of no cost to you. I would recommend, if you've struggled or are struggling with Amazon ads or even just using Amazon ads, go watch this event. I plan to participate in both days, clearing off my calendar and focusing on each one of these things, because I really want to hear from the experts and hear what I might be missing so I can make my ads even better. All right. Next item up in the news comes over from the fine folks over at ALLi. This one's a good one. This is great news. If you happen to be over in London, there is a free ALLi Amazon event. So that means the Alliance of Independent Authors and Amazon are co-running an event. It's 100% free to you. It's run from 2 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. in London time, of course. And they're talking about how indie authors can drive more sales and reach more readers via Amazon KDP. They're going to cover things like launching a book, A+ content, managing a series, KDP Select, selling print, perfecting your product and author pages on Amazon, and latest resources for authors. Really cool. You do have to register if you plan to be there in the in-person event. I must admit that I really want to go for this in-person conference, but that's just 3 days away, so I don't imagine I'll make it. So any that are out in London, let me know how the event goes. I definitely would love to hear from you. And then the last item up in the news comes from the folks over at at PublishDrive, and they have officially broken ground on Apple audiobooks. This is really exciting to see that PublishDrive is still expanding their reach when it comes to their audiobook publications. And so with this being the second largest channel in digital book sales right behind Amazon, it just makes so much sense. So if you happen to be utilizing PublishDrive, this is a great victory. I would be curious, and I haven't done the digging just yet, what type of an agreement that they have put in place with Apple. So for instance, Findaway Voices is considered a preferred partner by Apple. And Apple actually shared this in an exclusive webinar with the Alliance of Independent Authors. And Findaway Voices is a preferred partner. When asked if ACX was it, they said, no, they are not a preferred partner. So I wonder if PublishDrive is a preferred partner, meaning that they're going to endorse this platform for publishing over into Apple audiobooks. Here's the fun fact that you need to understand is, while you might be chasing after ACX and saying, oh, I can get through Apple through them, remember that you only get 25% of each sale on Apple by way of ACX, and then you split that 40% with ACX, or 25% if you're non-exclusive. But on Findaway Voices, it's 45% of each sale, and you get 80% of that. So that's where I'm kind of curious. I would love to see how PublishDrive does things, because they don't do a revenue share model. If they don't do a revenue share model and they get 45% of each sale, This right now smokes everything that Findaway Voices does. By the way, love you, Findaway Voices. I'm not trying to talk crap about you, but it's 45%. But the cool thing is with PublishDrive, I don't know if it's cool, is you have to pay a monthly subscription fee to have your content distributed. So that starts to eat away. So know that there's a little bit of an asterisk next to that. Even though they're not taking 20% of your earnings, they're taking still a monthly fee. So there's a little bit of a risk and a little bit of reward possibly for some of you out there. That was all the news for this week. What did you think of these news items? Did I miss anything over the past week? I definitely would love to hear from each and every single one of you.